Hey everybody, welcome to HabNormals. All right, we've got another thing to do after this, so we're gonna go through this as quickly as we can without taking anything away from the show. So today we're going to talk about. Well, I got a little bit of Habs news. We're gonna look at last week's games and take a look ahead at next week's games. Our main story tonight is we're going to talk about Marty St Louis coaching and how it's starting to take hold with the team, and they're playing a little better. We're going to talk about that, and then we're going to end the show with the Habs 3 stars of the week, and I'm going to do this with my co-host right there, Matt. Hey, Matt.
Going on, peeps.
All right, so we're going to lead off just with some news I have. It'll be quick. Raphael Harvey-Pinard, as I had said, was going to get sent back to Laval for conditioning. He's been sent to Laval on a long-term conditioning loan. Not a surprise at all. Probably 2 weeks from now, we'll hear about what's going to happen, whether he's coming back up or what's going to happen with him, in my opinion there. Monty, our goalie, Monty, in his last 4 games, Monty has 3 wins, 1 loss. He's got a 0.93 goals against, a 9.66 save percentage, 1 shutout, and Monty is playing good. I mean, I don't know what else to call that. He's
awesome. I mean,
absolutely.
He's certainly started to play like we know him to play, and like I said, we'll get into this, but I think a lot of that does have to do with the team really kind of finally understanding Marty's system, I guess, if you will.
I think you're 100% right. And listen, Monty's a good goalie. Mm-hmm. We knew that. I think the stumbling that we saw from him was exactly that. Was the team in front of him adjusting to that system that we're going to talk about. Okay, so let's talk about this because this is big news, actually. Patrick Laine is back practicing with the team. He's in a no-contact jersey, but, that'll be for only a certain amount of time. His return date is not set in stone, but 10 to 14 days. If there's no setbacks with the knee, in 10 to 14 days, he'll be back. Now, that means, I had that. It's against either the Rangers or Boston next weekend, or possibly the Islanders the following Tuesday. But more than likely, it's against either the Rangers or the Bruins. Not this weekend, the next weekend. So Patrick Laine finally looking good, and looks like he's going to return.
That's at least a month ahead of schedule, right?
2 weeks, apparently.
Or 2 weeks,
2 weeks ahead.
3 weeks.
The second, once they evaluated and they said, no, it won't be 4 to 6 months. It'll be 2 to 3 months. He's 2 weeks ahead on that.
Good, yeah. No, so that's
there's
great.
Potential for a setback to set him back to that time frame, but unless something happens, Patrick Laine's here in like 3 games.
Yeah,
that's insane.
That's great. I'm excited, and
also it puts him in either game number 25, 26, or 27 where he comes back, right? As long as there's no setbacks. That leaves what, 55 games? 50?
Yeah, that leaves games? Like 2/3 of the season, right? Just about.
So there's potential here if he comes back and he's not like crazy rusty. There's potential for a better finish than we reevaluated them for. Mm-hmm. After it looked like it was all doom and gloom, right?
No, for sure, right? Because I mean, if he comes back and he's, not mega rusty and he can work that off quickly, I mean, you got to think, right? Even in 50 games, there's probably 30-ish goals there, right?
Probably, I would think, 25, 30 goals.
Yeah, 25, 30 goals, maybe 20 assists.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. By the way, it'll be December 13th, I think. 1 year to the day that he last played in an NHL game. So there's probably some rust going to be there, right? But, I would think a guy with the experience he has and all that, he'll be able to shake that off relatively quickly, in my opinion. So, but the quicker the better that he's back on the ice, the quicker that he can shake that off and have enough meaningful games left for him to put up some good numbers and maybe even help this team. You know what? With the races the way they are and the tightness of those races, we may not be out of that yet. We're in the middle.
No, I mean, honestly, with what's going right where we are at this point, there's really maybe 4 teams that are kind of, we could say, are far and away above the rest, but then it's a really big pack.
Yeah, we're in the mix. If you want to talk about it being in the mix, Montreal's in the mix right now, and it's early and all that, and they're not right up there, but they're not that far away from the teams that are right up there, right? A couple of wins. Like if they can somehow, if they can win on Saturday and say they go on another, win a couple of games in a row, 3 in a row, whatever, that puts them right in the mix, right in the middle of that, really, the way how close the races are right now. So, hey, listen, it might not be as bad a season as we were all, had all come to feel that it was going to be because of the slow start that they had.
Yeah, and look, again, I think, kind of knowing now how long it probably took them to get accustomed to the system that Marty wanted, that kind of explains a lot of that, right? That learning curve and kind of getting used to that. And if they can get used to that and get proficient at it, I mean, I think we are starting to see that a little bit, but, we'll continue to see them build on that, right? And just, continue to kind of get better and make progress.
Well, yeah, but it seems like now that finally what they were working on for this season, it's starting to take hold with them. So, yeah, I would imagine that'll just get better. And, it doesn't mean we're out of the rebuild by any means.
No,
but
it's progress. And that's the important
That's right. We're going to see the progress, and it's going to be maybe a better season for us as fans to have to put up with. While this rebuild, continues to go on. So very good news that Patrik Laine is basically set to return in like 2 weeks. So
yeah, and again, I think that's a testament to the medical staff too, right? Bringing him along and again, making sure he's
operation. So yeah, if he's recovering quickly, it was a good operation.
Laine didn't have surgery.
Maybe it wasn't nearly as bad as even they hoped then. It was a little less, damage.
He didn't have surgery, though, Rick. You remember that. Laine didn't have to have an operation.
Oh, true. They didn't have surgery. So the treatments, you're right. But whatever treatments they chose to go with, they made the right decision. Or Laine did, because it was up to him, apparently, right?
Yeah.
Not to have surgery. Because believe me, if he would have had surgery, wouldn't be coming back in 2 weeks.
Right.
Not after surgery. It would have been longer. So this was the fastest road to him getting to the NHL. And fingers crossed, because there could be a setback, but fingers crossed, they made the right decision, and he's going to be back in 2 weeks. So, yeah, that's just awesome. All right, let's look at last week's games and give our opinions. Last week wasn't a bad week, really. It started out with kind of, it was a loss. It was a shutout loss to Minnesota. But from everything I read, I mean, I saw the game. I didn't think they were horrible. And I think it was the game that started them back, where they started to sort of grasp what they've been trying to learn, right? Because even though they lost 3-0, there were a lot of things in the game that they were doing better and seemed to be getting it, So 3-0
especially in the especially in the defensive end, right? And I want to get into this more when we talk about Edmonton. But I mean, Kaprizov really didn't do anything in that game until like the third period. Like for the most part, they were able to keep him quiet.
No, the defense started to find that game that they've been trying to, teach this core. They're starting to grasp it, and that game, and then Columbus, they only gave up 1 goal, and then against Edmonton, nothing. So the defense right now seems to really be getting the message, and I hope that's something that it's not just one of those kind of, they plateau a little bit with doing good. It can fall back a little bit before they progress more. I hope they're starting to grasp the system. It's a combination of man-on-man and zone coverage.
Yep.
So
that can get complex, and knowing when to switch.
Complex.
It takes time to get comfortable with that, right?
You have to relearn a few things, like your instincts, I guess, of when to do this or when to do that. You kind of have to adjust of when you're going to be man on man and when you're covering the zone. Like, I imagine that's what the adjustment is. But apparently Marty says it's where the league is going, and he wants them to be there when the league gets there with that. And you got to start now So I'm good with that. And, also the young defensemen, teach them when they're younger. Then, it's got to be easier for those guys than the veterans to learn a new system like that.
Right. No, I think you're exactly right too. And with the a lot of those defenders being so young too, it'll take a little bit more time to grasp that, right? Because they don't have the experience, right?
Well, if you look at it, 15 games because they started doing this in the, I guess they decided off season, started to prepare, and then at training camp and all that. So it's not that long. They're working on it. If they're starting to grasp it now, and I'm not expecting miracles that, they're great at it, but if they're starting to grasp it now, a good job on the coaching staff to make that decision to bring them to where the league is going to be at, when they're ready, when they're contenders,
Yeah.
So,
no, exactly right. And again, it's part of that chess match, right? That I like to talk about a lot. When I talk about the way that this team's being rebuilt, right? If they can get to a point where like they're comfortable with this system, like you said, and like Marty said, when the league gets there, they're gonna have a leg up on so many teams at that point.
They will. Yeah. Okay, let's get back to, we're gonna do that in a minute. We kind of sidetracked here. So like I said, Minnesota, you can write that game off because the next one against Columbus was really good. Now Columbus had beaten a pretty good team just before. I can't remember the team, 5-1, I believe. Then in between that win, they lost to us. Then they beat Boston 5-1. So, it's not like Columbus is this horrible team. They were winning, and then we came out and beat them, dominating. They dominated them, I thought, in that game. And then Edmonton started out slow. Looked like Edmonton was going to have our number, but boy, that didn't last long. And that we beat them 3-0. So teammates, Arbor's teammates, because Arbor Jack guy, this big hit on Hyman. And the team, the other players were saying that was probably the what changed their momentum from a slow start and all that, and they seem to play better right after. They all agree that hit by Arbor lifted that team up. So,
yeah, no, I mean, why wouldn't it? You know what I mean? And and to his credit, I think he has started kind of showing a bit of improvement too in his own end. I mean, obviously we know early on really wasn't there, right? Like there was some genuine
like the whole
concern.
team though,
right?
But like the whole team struggling with the same thing too. So we didn't know this. I didn't at the beginning, but that's part of what Arbor was struggling with, is learning a new system as well. So I guess as they're starting to grasp it, you can see he's got a little more confidence. And a hit like that. That's something that Arbor brings to the team that not a lot of guys on the team can do, is consistently make hits like that where you just totally demolish a guy legally, no problem, and it really lifts your team, especially in a situation like that.
I mean, really, it's just him and Struble. I mean, occasionally I think Slaff will level a hit in there, but it's really mainly him and Struble. If you think about it, right? If you watch these games, you see the guys that make those hits.
All right, let's move on to next week. We have now the Habs have been off since Monday. They had played Edmonton Monday. They've got 4 days, playing again on Saturday. I know they're using these 4 days to get some really good productive practices in. They don't get that opportunity. Teams don't get that opportunity during the season that often to really be able to work on what's going wrong and what they want to improve on. But when they get 3 days in between games, 4 days like this time, they do work on that. So they're going to probably look even better on Saturday. I'm hoping. It's going to be a tough matchup against Vegas. What do you think?
No, it will be. Look, I mean, Vegas is one of the best teams in hockey right now, but we'll see how they come out. But no, I think it is really good to have this many days to really work on stuff. And, it's good too because like you said, you can, from practice to practice, you be able to kind of, see like, all right, what am I who's having trouble with what, and stuff like that. Like really kind of hone in on stuff. Work some things up. Yeah, it's
that's
really,
where
really
they get
good.
the opportunity, because even when they do a practice, like they're playing every 2 days, right?
Yeah.
So they'll have a morning skate. That's not a practice, right? That's not a practice. It's a morning skate. When they have days off like that, then when they when they're skating in between games like that, they're working on stuff. So And that's what they did last time. They had, I don't know if it was 2 or 3 days in between. They worked on this stuff, and it seemed to take, because after that they were starting to play better. So I'm expecting they're going to be a little better against Vegas. I'm going to be optimistic and say, because it's at home, I think they're going to beat Vegas, because I do think they're going on a small winning streak. It's already 2 now. I think we're 2 in a row. I think we're going to see a 3 to 5 game winning streak.
Yeah, no, I think it's certainly possible. I mean, I haven't looked too far ahead.
Next, after this is Utah. We got back-to-back next week. By the way, we got to figure out for the pod, because they got games Tuesday and Wednesday. Utah, and then they're in Columbus.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, no, legitimately, 3 winnable games. I think Vegas is better, but Utah and Columbus are definitely winnable games.
Those are winnable games, and Vegas might be. So, yeah, there's a potential here to have a 5-game winning streak.
Yeah.
Now, they do that. They launch themselves right back up into the mix of a playoff race, of a wild card race.
Yeah, look, and again, right, if they're in the mix when Line comes back, I mean,
so the thing is, like, even though we were at our lowest as Habs fans, thinking, man, this is not going to be a good year, maybe we're wrong even on that second evaluation. And our first evaluation may end up being the one that is actually what we're going to see for most of this season. Anyways, it's something to look forward to, something to hope on. Yeah. And,
absolutely,
there's light at the end of the tunnel. This might not be such a dark season, so that's really good. So for next week, I'm going to say a sweep for Montreal. They're going to win all 3 games for the next 3.
I'm going to go 2-1 just because, again, I think that Vegas game is a bit of an unknown. I do think it'll be a close game, though. Like, I think all 3 of the, I mean, I don't know, Columbus could end up being a blowout again. I don't know, but I think the Vegas game should be a close game. Like, I don't think it's going to be.
The one I'm worried about more? The one I'm worried about more is the Columbus game.
Oh, because it's
back in Columbus. Columbus is going to want revenge. That might work for him. So, but I'm going to be optimistic and say 3 wins this week, and they get themselves back into a nice race. Now, I'm admitting I'm being optimistic. So if you're going to be watching this and want to put in the chat, you're nuts. I'm being optimistic. I really am. I don't know that they'll win 3, obviously, but I'm trying to be support them. That's really what it is. But I do hope they will win all 3.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. It'd be great to go to that little Thanksgiving break, American Thanksgiving break.
Yeah.
To be on a win streak like that, it'd be great. I'll switch some momentum, and I mean, obviously, with things happening with teams above us, i.e., the Boston Bruins, who are even though they're in the thick of it, I mean, they got problems.
They do, and it's potential that line.
I mean, serious problems, right? Like from what I know, from what's been reported, I mean, the locker room is against Jeremy Swayman right now. It's crazy. I don't know, but there's some legitimate problems.
And Line A's potentially coming back against Boston.
Yeah,
that game. So we'll see if he does. But yeah, I think. Hang on, I got a cough for a second. Yeah, no, I think Boston, if they, they could drop out of the race, right? And
no, it's very legit.
Somebody's got to pop in. It could be Montreal if the timing is right.
Yeah, and look, I mean, I think, and I think we all agree. You and me and the other guys here, we all kind of agree. Like, firing Jim Montgomery, I don't think is really going to solve a lot, because I think the problems with that team go deeper than that. I really like, again, with what we know about what's going on with the locker room now and
upper management,
and upper management too. Like it's like, I think Jim Montgomery's a great coach. I mean, his record speaks for itself. I think he's going to find another job somewhere, and I think he's going to be great.
When a GM is in trouble, he feels his job might be in jeopardy. One of the things they might do is fire the coach and bring in a new coach, trying to, this seems to me like that's what Sweeney did there, just to save his job.
Kind of, sort of. And I also heard that, I guess at the beginning of the year, Sweeney had a conversation with Joe Sacco and said, Montgomery was on a short leash and to be ready to take over. I'm like, I don't know. It seems odd Because
when you consider the mistakes they made with Swayman not signing him, all that stuff, right?
But again, right? But it could go to what you just said. Maybe Sweeney and Neely were kind of getting really nervous. Like, listen, if shit starts hitting the fan, we're in trouble. Like,
yep.
I don't. I mean, maybe, but again, right? This is now the second time.
Typical. Listen, it's very typical of a GM that is worried about his job, might make a trade that seems weird, or fired a coach.
Yeah.
In my opinion, and I've seen this many times over the years, really. So yeah, I think the problem may end up being that Sweeney, just for some reason, I don't know how long he's been in the job, but is not doing a good job right now.
It's gotta be 10 years, I think, going on now. 10 years.
So sometimes, at that
Cirelli was fired.
Sometimes it's time for a change at that point with a guy. He's there 10 years. You can only do the same thing over and over again so many times, and it works. And maybe that's the problem. They need a new voice there in the GM spot.
Yeah, I think you might be right there because I mean, in those 9 years they did make a cup final, but other than that, I don't think they've made it out of the second round at all.
No, what's going on there seems to me a GM that's
now they're at a point where they're getting smacked in the first round. I think you're right. Like, I think this year, I'd say even if they miss the playoffs this year, I think you have to fire both of them at that point.
Yeah.
After that many years of making the playoffs. But yeah, no, I do. I think
that's what'll happen, right?
They're at that point.
And I think they'll get fired.
Yeah.
I think that's what'll end up happening over there. But we diverted, and sorry. But you know what? What's going on in Boston, actually, being one of our biggest rivals, second biggest in my opinion. That's news. That's something worth talking about. So but let's go to this main story and see if we can get through this. I've got 5 things from an article by Eric Engels that I thought were interesting. I don't know if I have them in the right order, but I'll read one at a time. We'll talk about it, and we'll get through that. How do you think? Good?
Yeah. Good.
All right. So, like I said, Eric Engels on Sportsnet. So this article is out there on Sportsnet's website. I should have written down the name of the article. I didn't, but you could find it. Came out yesterday, I believe. This is one of the things that they were talking about. They're talking about how the team from 2 weeks ago to where it is today, how, it's a big difference. So 2 weeks ago, St. Louis was repeating over and over again, the Canadians need to stop helping their opponents stop shooting themselves in the foot, or as he put it at one game, puking all over themselves. So today sounds a little different. When teams play loose on us, we can expose them because I feel we have a good offensive game. And some games, they're not going to give you that. So you've got to grind a little bit. You got to put pucks in good spots. You got to trust the forecheck. You've got to try and start your ozone. That wording didn't seem right to me, but and this is what they did against the Wild, Blue Jackets, and the Oilers last night. The reason I put that in there is because take that away. It's kind of showing that what he's been trying to work on with them is starting to take form. From 2 weeks ago, where they were just shooting themselves in the foot, to these last 3 games where they're playing a lot better to even dominating in 1 or 2 of those. I don't know. Is there anything you want to comment on that?
No, look, I absolutely agree. I mean, again, especially in that game against Edmonton, it was at times boring, but I do think that also has to do with, I think, the guy, the players know that, they gotta play safer, right? Again, going to not shooting yourself in the foot. They gotta play a little safer, not control the passes more, like not, because a lot of times I saw them just kind of throwing pucks around willy nilly, like they just seem to be a lot more in control of the passing, and I think defensively, and I wanted to get into this, like they shut McDavid and Draisaitl down.
Yep.
Like they were quiet. It's like genuinely very, very impressive. Like they didn't really, couple opportunities here and there, but there wasn't anything where
not even really much of that.
Me. Yeah,
you say, a couple opportunities, but that was it. They didn't get.
Yeah,
they really shut them down defense. Even Cole Caulfield on Draisaitl.
Yeah,
he went in the corner at some point. Draisaitl had the puck, And Draisaitl is 30-odd pounds bigger than or heavier than Caulfield. Caulfield shouldered him right off the puck. Stole the puck. That was the goal, the goalie set up. Like that, like they're working well right now. Like that game, like if you say that Minnesota was the first, start by Edmonton, they shut down a pretty good Edmonton team, although they're struggling a little bit. But I mean, you still got Draisaitl and McDavid on that team, so and you shut them down. It's not like, well, they got the points and nobody else did. Nobody did. So defensively, like they've kind of taken off. Is that what it's going to be like going forward? I don't know.
Barron's not in the lineup, probably.
Barron's in the lineup, you think?
If he's not in the lineup,
if he's probably no. Barron clearly hadn't gotten
like abundantly clear. Like
the last game he played, he was like he didn't know where he was supposed to be.
Yeah,
that's how I felt watching him. Is like he's running around, he doesn't know where to be. So clearly, he hasn't gotten it. But you didn't see that too much at all against the Oilers. Like there wasn't a lot of
there were a lot of timely plays where guys like I think I saw Hudson do it once. I think I saw Struble do it once where they are able to kind of read where a pass was going to come from and just either get a stick down, and a lot of times that's really all you got to do against even like a guy like McDavid or Draisaitl. If you block their outlet, their passing lane, stuff
or
like
just
that,
stick with them.
just make it hard for them
for that
to have space. That's all you got to do, and they did a really good job of that, I thought.
I think that's where when you're playing zone coverage or man on man, when you got those two guys in the lineup, you got to play man on man on them because you can't let them free at all. I think that's what that's about, right? Is knowing when, to do that.
Yeah, and I think they're getting better at communicating, right? Talking to each other because that also has a lot to do with it. If you're playing a team like that, right? You should have a plan and or at least communicate and say, all right, for example, right? All right, Struble and whoever Caulfield, right? All right, you guys are playing, man to man on these two, and the rest of them play zone, or something like that. But if you're communicating and that's good, and it certainly looks like that's gotten a lot better, you'll be able to switch off easier because you know what guys are doing, right? I think
or once you practice, you know where people are supposed to be. If everyone's doing their job, you kind of know where the guy's going to be. So, all right, let's look at this next one. Okay, so it says what St. Louis has seen from them of late has him confident they'll commit to that work. I forget what they were talking about just before. So he says, I think we've been very businesslike, very workmanlike. He said, we just show up, we work, we do our thing. I think it starts with the attitude of the group and understanding what's going to help you be successful collectively. We played really well in some games. We lost, and we stayed even keel. Tonight, we played a really good game. It's two wins in a row. To me, it's just staying the course and being businesslike and not getting too high or getting too low and just focusing on, can we be the best version of ourselves each and every day? So what this says to me is just that, this is something I think St. Louis has been preaching the whole time is being consistent, not getting too high or too low, giving the game what it asks of you is the way he puts it. He didn't put it there. I think these guys are starting to buy into that and starting to understand it more than not just buying into the work to get to understanding it. They're starting to understand what he's been talking about this whole time.
Yeah, and look again, with the team with so many young players, right? I think it's just good for their confidence too, right? Because it goes along like kind of how we know he kind of likes to coach, like in terms of like not getting too high or too low. Like he, if you make a mistake, you make a mistake, right? Like don't beat yourself up over it. Like you'll get better at it. You'll work at it. Don't let it affect
your next shift.
And I think just collectively as a group, I think the character that these players have, I think it has really allowed them to buy into that, right? Like especially too with a lot of the high IQ guys, right? And just being able to do that is huge.
Okay, let's look at the next piece I got here. So this was about the Oilers game. Watching the Canadians outwork the Oilers all over the ice, watching them generate 51 shot attempts to Edmonton's 34, 22 scoring chances to Edmonton's 12, and 12 high danger chances to Edmonton's 4 at 5-on-5.
Wow.
Made us wonder if they've raised their standard to any level they can consistently achieve. It wasn't a one-off. The Canadians were defensively stalwart against the supremely structured Minnesota Wild less than a week ago. Now, they lost 3-0, and when I read that before, that despite losing 3-0, I thought that was a weird thing to say in a game we lost 3-0, right? But if you look deeper into the game, you see what he's talking about, how they were structured against them, and they did look better against Minnesota, even though they lost.
Mm-hmm. I think a couple of those goals were deflections too, so it's like It's not like there wasn't anything they did wrong. It just the puck hit something and
it was a really good effort overall, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just get lost in the fact that they couldn't score.
Yeah, and look, Gustafsson played out of his mind too. He made a couple of robbery saves that game, if I remember correctly.
Now, here's something important, because when you couple that defensive effort with the same kind of strong offensive effort, like they had in the 5-1 win over Columbus and the 3-0 win over Edmonton, that's what's going on now. Something appears to have clicked into place, and it's imaginable to them it only gets strengthened by the last two favorable results. So the last two wins, that's got to give them confidence going into this next one.
Mm-hmm. And Monty,
as they're starting to pick it up.
Look, like you said, you brought up his stats, his last 4 games. I mean, the fact that, the guys in front of him now are playing better and helping him out, the more confident he's going to get, especially seeing those numbers and, get back to, like I said, the Montembeault that we know and love. It's only good. It's so good just for the whole team. Just confidence-wise and just everything going forward, right?
Yeah, I mean, defense was the big problem. The biggest problem this team had was defense this year. So it's awesome to see that they're working it out.
Mm-hmm.
So talking about what we just did, right, about McDavid and Draisaitl being shut down. So the entire defense kept McDavid and Draisaitl and every other dangerous Oiler at bay, putting in a gutsy performance typified by Caden Gooley, who blocked an Evan Bouchard bomb in the first, that left him writhing in pain and sent him running down the Canadiens' tunnel for scans to see if his hand was broken. So that's what was going on.
Right. I mean, that made sense. Broken. And I mean, obviously, unfortunately, Galley's experienced that because, unfortunately, he was on the business end of a couple of Shea Weber slap shots. But, that's what they do.
And they're not going to take a chance. Besides, if it was broken, you can't play.
Yeah.
So Gooley returned in the second, as we all saw. He scored in the third. And that was the Cole Caulfield setup. Cole Caulfield out-muscled Draisaitl, 35 pounds heavier, and set up the goal. I remember that was a really nice play by Caulfield. We were watching the game together. That was just a really nice setup by Caulfield.
And what was it, last season too? I remember there was a play, and I think we scored off of it again. It was very similar to that, but it was against Brandon Carlo, who I think is probably 50 or 60 pounds heavier than him. And the same thing, went in the corner, shouldered him off the puck, and just threw a backhand pass in front. And it's really not about how big you are. If you work hard, you have that work ethic, you'll be fine.
I think in this article, and I should have taken it, I believe Caulfield said exactly that. You don't have to be big to be, to play hockey. You have to know his timing. I forget what he said exactly, but it's true. It's true. You can hit, if you're a smaller guy, if you time it right, hit him in the right spot, all that, you could take out a bigger guy and grab the puck and get out of there. Like it's not out of the question. But not every small guy could do that. Caulfield, though, playing really well, and part of what that is about season.
I've seen Lane Hudson do it too.
But the last season, when Caulfield wasn't scoring as much as we wanted, but he was getting some, the assists, his playmaking was getting better. He was working on the rest of his game. I mean, this is the benefit from that is here. Right now, he's not scoring the last few games, right? But still, few assists, playing well.
Playing well defensively too, like we talked about. Him against Draisaitl, right? Like, again, and
of the well-rounded game.
Yeah, and look, I love talking about that because it was something that my dad and I love to talk about. Like, and this is true for like any sport. But if you're the thing that I always look for, when I see a good player, and if I want to call him a great player, can you contribute? Can you do other things when your primary,
right?
Whatever you're doing is, if you can't do it, right? So like, basketball, for example, right? Like, if you're primarily a scorer, but you're not scoring, but if I see you out there still getting assists, getting rebounds, right? Like a Jason Tatum, you're a great player because even if your primary thing, if he's not scoring 30 points, I know he'll get 7 assists, 11 rebounds, maybe 15 points, and he's still contributing. Same thing in hockey.
That's how you work your way through that slump on whatever it is that's not working, right?
Yeah, and like in hockey, right? Caulfield, right? Perfect example, right? So scoring's been down, these last couple games, but yeah, he's gotten a couple assists. He's working hard defensively, so I go, well, yeah, he's not scoring, but he's still contributing to team success.
Contributing. That's a leader.
When I see that makes a good player a great player. I mean, it really does.
100%, it does. All right, last thing that I have from this article, and this is about managing risks. We're doing a really good job at managing our risk, and to me, that's a big part of the actions that don't help the other team, especially a team like tonight. I think this was what was the Oilers game. They're just waiting for you to try and maybe this might work, because they live off of the maybes. I felt tonight we had a lot of 100% plays. We really managed our risks. So that definitely was the Edmonton game, because you could see in that game, right, where the risks that they did take, they only took them because they knew they would work. There wasn't a lot of those things didn't work out. It didn't work. Where some games nothing seems to work.
And there wasn't a lot of those, like I said, where at the beginning of the year, they were kind of just throwing pucks into willy-nilly into space and not looking.
Yeah.
The last few games, you can tell that they're looking where they're sending the puck. They're getting it to the outside, stuff like that. And
much more deliberate, much more focused.
Right.
And confident in what they're doing. So if that can continue, the next few games should be really fun to watch, and hopefully they could be wins. All right, I think we spent enough on Marty. We've talked about him, about his job, and we had talked to the last episode. Actually, we talked about, is he going to get fired? He's not going to get fired. He's not going to get fired. And if people would have been a little bit more patient, right, that improvement was coming right around the corner. And there, and here we are. So, is Coach Marty a Pee-wee coach? No, he's an NHL coach, and it's being proven out right now that we're seeing results of his coaching, of the coaching staff's work.
Look, and like we always say, it takes time. Which would, again, like with such young players, it's going to take time to grasp this stuff, right? It's just all about patience.
It's about patience.
We're seeing it pay off. Yeah.
Stay the course. That's what they got to do. All right. Time for one of our newest segment that we started last time. And let's see. Hang on. I got to get it. And that is the Habs 3 stars of the week. We're each going to give our 3 stars of the week. And are you ready for that? You have a list, or are you doing this off the top of your head?
No, I got it right off the top of my head.
You have it at the top. Okay. Okay, you go. Who's your third star?
Third star, I'm going to have to go with... Third star, I didn't really think about.
I thought you were prepared.
I 1 and 2. I forgot about the third star. But, honestly, like, I think Galley deserves a shout there. I thought he's had a good few games.
8 goals already this season, on pace for 32 or 33 right now.
I think Evans could deserve a shout in there too. I think Evans has stepped up and done what he's needed to do on that second line. You know what? I'm going to go Jake Evans.
Jake Evans. Yeah, he's been playing well, especially these 3 games. I thought Jake Evans.
Yeah, I'm going to go Jake Evans.
Where I have him.
Notre Dame guy. He's my guy. So Go with Evans. My second star, Cole Caulfield.
No, wait, whoa.
Oh, sorry.
You do.
We'll go back and forth. Gotcha.
Okay, so you took my thunder in a bit because my third star is Cole Caulfield. Had 3 assists in those 3 games. And I wrote here, not scoring, make plays then. And that's kind of what he's doing when the scoring touch sort of temporarily left him for a few games. Cole Caulfield has been playing a good, well-rounded, even physical type game. Like he needs to get physical. He almost got into a fight. Also, I think Columbus game. So Cole Caulfield, my third star of the week. We know your second.
Cole Caulfield, and the same reasons. Yeah, it's really because again, right? He's making plays and he's being physical when he needs to be, and it's helped the team. And
yep, 3 assists in 3 games. I mean, it's good number.
Just the physicality too. Just again, the way that he worked Leon Draisaitl and set up that goal, which again,
I think that's
kind of
for me.
A testament to the way he plays the game, especially when he's not scoring. So,
yeah.
Caulfield all day, second star.
My second star, and you can probably argue, and it's probably your first star, but my second star probably should be my first star, but it's Sam Montembeault. I put here, well, in the 3 games, the last 3, 2 wins, he had a shutout, and he gave up only 4 goals in 3 games. Like, it's amazing play from Monty, and they're leaning on him heavily. He's gotten, I think, 4 starts in a row now. And I expect him to be the starter in Vegas. So he's filling that starter's role where he's going to get the bulk of the starts, especially until Primo shows something. Monty's my second star.
Yeah, my first star. Look, I just think he's really, again, with everyone kind of grasping the system now, he's starting to play a lot better. They're getting, he's having a little bit more help in front of him, but he's also just looked a lot better, looked more comfortable in net. Like, still, I think it goes to his mindset too. I think a lot of the, the negative stuff kind of just flushed out, and he's taking game by game.
He's getting support. Look at them in front. He gives up a rebound. There's somebody there to clear it.
Yeah.
More often than not, like, it's a lot better. He's getting the support, and that's another reason why he's not giving up as many goals, because they're not being, the shooters aren't just being left there,
right,
to do what they want. So that helps a lot. And then his skill is still there with a little support. Look at the numbers.
The reactions look good. I look maybe even a little bit better. I think he's still reading the puck well. No, but like you said, it helps when shooters aren't left all alone out in front of him.
Right, and that screws his confidence and blah blah blah. And now when he's got his confidence back, he's got the support, and they're clearing pucks. You're seeing who Monty is, and we've both been on the Monty wagon for a long time. Absolutely. That guy's underrated. Team had a bad start. Monty had a bad start, but look, he's turning it around. So,
and look, definitely when you shut out the Edmonton Oilers, I mean that's a pretty great feat with the guys that they have. Yeah. So I think Montembeault's very much deserving of the first star this week. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. But the funny thing here is my first star. You'll see we're on the same page because they're all 3 the same in different order. I gave it to Jake Evans because Jake Evans with 2 goals, 1 assist, starting to really take to this 2C role. Who you think not the role for him? He's taking to it. He's not going to be a star second line center any day, but he's taking to it. And I think in these last 3 games, he was the best player for the team on the ice.
And he's so good on both ends of the ice. And I watched him all throughout. Like, he's one of my favorite players in the league. I watched him all throughout college. Like, he's such an underrated player in this league. Because he's got the skill set to, obviously, I mean, he's not a star second line center, but he's got the skill set to, like, now he's thrust into that role. He can hang. He's a highly skilled player, but I think he's such a highly underrated player as well.
He is. He's trying to prove it. I mean,
he's a good penalty killer as well. I think he's one of the reasons our PK's been top. I think it's still top 10. But he's a very good penalty killer, and he's got the puck skills. He's a good passer, good vision.
Trying to show that he's got a 2-way game and he can contribute up front too. His numbers are better than they usually are, especially this time of the year. So yeah, Jake Evans, I think, deserved of that first star. If not, second star, that's fair too. Yeah. So definitely, that's where I'm at. All right, that's it. I got nothing else. You got any closing thoughts?
No, no, not really. I just, I'm excited. Hopefully, we keep building on this momentum, and we'll see where it goes. And I'm stoked. I can't wait for that first game. Liney's back. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, can't wait.
Both is the game against the Rangers at home or is it in New York?
They're both on the road.
No, the Boston. Oh yeah,
New York and in Boston.
I'm hoping it's Boston because I'm probably going to that game.
I'm hoping it's Boston because there's a lot of it's a rival. A lot of emotion there, and I don't want him to start off against Trouba. I don't want to take that chance. I don't like that.
I agree with you there.
I don't like that. I want it to be Boston, and I hope that's where they target him for. And because it's back-to-back that weekend. It's probably he won't play in both anyway. Let's not take the chance against the Rangers and have him play in Boston. That's how I'm looking at it.
That'd be sweet.
All right, well, we come to the end. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and checking this out. We really appreciate it. Either leave us a comment in the comments here. You can send us an email at our email address, which is in the description, and let us know what you thought. If you have any ideas for us in the future, how you guys feel about the resurgence, this little resurgence the Habs are having. You think it'll keep going or not? Let us know down in the comment section. We really appreciate that. Till next week, we'll be back. Just thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Peace out. Go Habs, go. And we'll see you guys next time.
Oh, Habs, go, baby.
Ciao, everybody. Thanks for watching. If you like this, give a thumbs up, leave a comment, and please share this video.